I want everybody just to picture this, all right? You are staring down the barrel of retirement, and it sometimes can feel like standing at the foot of Mount Everest and you don't even have any hiking boots on, right? The temptation to stress about things like market crashes, social security reform, or the potential for an unexpected 50-year life expectancy post-retirement. Guess what? Well, that's real, okay? But here's the thing. Just like we can't control the weather on Mount Everest, we can't predict every single twist and turn on the road to retirement. What we can control is how we prepare for it. So, when we talk about applying this to retirement planning, the first thing that you can do is, and I've said it before, and I'll say it many times again, control the controllables. Okay. What do you have to control? Well, you have to control your savings rate as well as your spending habits. So instead of spiraling into worry about potential future stock market volatility, focus on those things that you can control today. How much you're saving, how your spending habits are, and how you can maximize those contributions to each one of your retirement accounts. Think of it as training for the Everest hike. Okay. You can't guarantee the summit day will be sunny, but you can show up fit and prepared.
That's absolutely right. And, nobody climbs Mount Everest without doing a lot of training and preparation ahead of time. And when you look at it through the lens of retirement, you've got to do the preparation. You've got to make sure that you are ready for it when that day arrives, and not just say, okay, well, here I am at the foot of Mount Everest and I'm wearing my flip-flops and my shorts and tank top, because you don't have on the proper outfit and none of the equipment to make that climb successfully.
Absolutely not. The second thing, Matt, shift your mindset from stress to strategy. I love this one, okay? Because stressing about whether you're going to have enough for retirement is kind of like stressing about whether or not there's going to be enough toilet paper at the grocery store in a pandemic, right? Remember the great toilet paper shortage during COVID? The anxiety itself doesn't solve the problem. Action does. And so by focusing on actionable steps, setting a savings target, diversifying your investments, and adjusting your plan as your situation changes, you can create a sense of both progress as well as control, Matt.
Yeah, we had to get creative during the pandemic, buying not only toilet paper, but things like, disinfectants and all that kind of thing. And I remember, having to get creative. I think I bought online at like a warehouse club's website, a big thing of toilet paper. It was the only brand that they had in stock throughout the entire company. I think I got one of the only boxes of it that was left. And because none of the local stores had anything. And so you do what you have to do in those types of situations. And you gotta get creative sometimes.
Absolutely. I was just thankful I have a Japanese toilet that has a built-in bidet. But I tell you, even bidet sales went through the roof during the pandemic, something that the Europeans and the rest of the world have been light years ahead of America on. But, just a plug for bidets. If you don't have one, I'm telling you, folks, it's a game changer. There are some out-of-the-box ways to help you cope with long-term retirement planning. And so here's where you can kind of get a little bit creative, because the idea of preparing for something that may be 10, 20, 30 years away feels like you're trying to nail Jell-O to a wall, okay? And here are some strategies that might make the process a bit more enjoyable or at least tolerable. Gamify your savings. Turn your retirement savings into a game is what I mean by that. You might create mini challenges for yourself, like no spend November. I remember they used to have no shave November. Well, you can have no spend November, or save an extra $50 a week in January. And then every time you hit a milestone, give yourself a small but guilt-free reward, because it's like leveling up in a video game, except instead of defeating a virtual dragon, you're slaying future financial worries. What do you think about that, Matt?
I love that. Talk about, just giving yourself that little bit of motivation and making it kind of fun is great, because, people, just think about that, the video game analogy there. How many people spend just hours and hours and hours playing video games. It's because of that, that gratification and that sort of, that feeling of the challenge there. Well,
Mhm.
you challenge yourself, make it a game. I love that idea.
Yep. Number two, we want to invest in experiences, not just assets. Okay. Yes, the stock market is important, but so is living a life that you love along the way. So instead about stressing out about maxing out your IRA every single year, try investing in skills or hobbies that could bring you joy or even generate income in retirement. So, one of the things that a lot of people like myself, I love dogs. So maybe you might consider becoming a dog walker in retirement. You can earn a little extra income and you get to pet a lot of, fur babies. So, now is your chance to kind of prepare for things like that. I love that idea about not just stressing out, but actually investing in those types of experiences.
Yeah, and my dad was kind of that way. Like in early on in his retirement, actually, he got he was one of those people who could just never sit around the house with nothing to do anyway. But
Mm,
had always loved cars, and so he got a job, like a part-time job at the local auto auction that was like just a couple minutes down the road from their house. And that was just such a great thing for him because he got to spend time, working with something that he always had enjoyed. And so when you're able to take something that you love and make money with it, that is a great thing.
yeah. Number three, we're going to talk about the future you exercise. We always talk about whether or not you want your future self to kiss you or kick you, right? So imagine having a conversation with your 75-year-old self, your 85-year-old self. What would they thank you for doing today? And it might sound silly, but it's a great way to keep perspective. Plus, you can picture them sitting there in a pair of snazzy slippers, right? Sipping tea and saying, hey, thank you for not blowing all that money on avocado toast, right? I mean, there's lots of things we can waste money on each and every single day, but your future you want to thank you and kiss you and not kick you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. That a lot of avocado toast, but hey, it adds up. I mean, avocado toast, lattes, like whatever your sort of weakness is about spending money regularly on one kind of thing, or maybe a couple of different kinds of things every day, and you think, oh, well, it's not much. Think about how much that adds up over time, and put it into that kind of perspective too.
No doubt. Number four is going to be to automate and forget about it, but in a good way, right? We never say, set it and forget it because you always want to inspect what you expect. But when it comes to automating your savings and investments, you should do that as much as possible. Think it like setting up a Roomba for your finances. It's quietly going to sweep your money into the accounts while you just go about your life. And you'll be amazed at how quickly setting up automation and forgetting about it can build wealth without you having to obsess over every single market dip, Matt.
Yeah, that takes a lot of the stress off the table, when you're not worried about, oh, what's the stock market doing today? You're watching the stock ticker at the bottom of the screen, you're obsessing over it, like you said, and that just consumes so much energy.
Right.
And when you don't have that to worry about, it leads to less stress, which leads to better health, better moods, longer life, and more enjoyable life all around.
No doubt. So, also, you should have a quarterly, what we call financial freakout meeting, where you designate one day every 3 months to sit down and actually look at each and every single one of your retirement accounts so that you can assess your progress. It is your scheduled time to maybe congratulate yourself because you're doing awesome, or worry about it a little and maybe make some adjustments. The rest of the time of those 3 months, you can just let it go and live your life. It's like a pressure valve. You're going to release steam regularly every 3 months so that it doesn't blow up at inconvenient times.
Yeah, that's right. If you don't release that pressure, you never know when it's going to come out. You never know when that valve is going to blow. So that's a great thing to do. Just periodically, release that stress and have a look at everything. Make sure you're headed in the right direction.
No doubt. And sometimes, Matt, folks have to get a little bit philosophical about things, right? Sometimes the best way to cope with the magnitude, the enormity of retirement planning is to kind of just zoom out. In the grand scheme of things, all we can do is make the best choices with the information that we have today. So go ahead, prepare, save, plan, but remember that nobody has a crystal ball. Mine's been broken for almost 54 years. So when in doubt, you should adopt the motto, plan like you're going to live forever, but enjoy life like retirement starts tomorrow. So in short, do not let that enormity of retirement planning paralyze you. Focus on what you can do today and let the rest work itself out. After all, when it comes to the unknown future, we are all in the same boat. Okay, some of us just have a paddle and a few extra snacks.
That's right. A few extra snacks, a few better snacks too, probably. There's a difference between the no name brand chocolate bar that's been sitting on the shelf for a couple of years, and something that's what is. I'm trying to think of what my favorite chocolate bar is, like one of those 100 grand chocolate bars or something. There's a difference there, and you want to make sure that you are well equipped for your retirement years and for your journey in the boat, that same boat as everybody else. And you know what? If your boat has a few leaks in it, or if you don't necessarily think that you have a paddle, or that paddle's not working very well for you, maybe the paddle's got a hole in it, go to moneymatterswithmike.com, because Mike Zeno is a guy who can help you out with that. Go through everything with a fine-tooth comb, and really just take a look at all of your planning for retirement, or get you started along the path of planning for retirement. You might say, hey, Matt, I got nothing right now, except maybe I've been investing in my 401k. I've been putting stuff in there, but beyond that, I don't know what to do. moneymatterswithmike.com, great place to go. Click on the contact page and schedule a consultation there. Call Mike as well, 704-560-1573, 704-560-1573. That initial consultation, absolutely free of any charge or any obligation, because, hey, Mike Zeno just wants to help you out. And that really is what it is all about.